Thank you everyone for joining us today. We are joined by Bob and Leslie Moore family defensive line coach, recruiting coordinator, and defensive run game coordinator, Mike Elston. If you do have a question, please go ahead and raise your hand. And Coach Elston, we're going to get started with Tim Priester.
Great.
Mike, good morning.
Morning, Tim. How are we doing?
Doing fine. It takes a long time to say that title of yours these days.
I know. That's the first time I've actually heard it said out loud. We got to come up with some abbreviations or something.
Yeah. A couple personnel questions and then just a philosophy up front. But just wanted to ask about MTA's transition to defensive end and what he needs to do to be better. And Riley Mills looks like a beast from what we've seen so far. And then in terms of what Coach Freeman wants to do with multiple fronts, are you cross-training some of those guys because of those multiple fronts?
Yeah. Yeah, we'll get it. Okay. You may have to remind me what the third one is when I get to it. But the first thing, Myron's doing great. You know, the move for him has been very beneficial. He's trimmed down and leaned out in his weight and looks really good with speed and agility off the edge. Probably the most productive, guy right now up to this point throughout spring. He in the nose guard position between Kurt Heinisch and Howard Cross and Aiden Keona-Aina, those guys, those four guys have been, super, super productive and very, very disruptive. In terms of Riley's progressing, doing a nice job. We've got him, like you asked the third part of the question, he's cross-training and doing some different things, but progressing well and doing a nice job. The multiple front question, I love it. Our guys love it. We're able to get in and out of different fronts more than we did a year ago, more than we did the last 4 years. And, the other cool thing is that, Isaiah Foskey, we can move him all over the field now and put him at our Viper position. We could play him at the boundary end position. We can play him to the field, play him inside a 3 technique. And, we can do that with quite a few guys. We're moving Jordan Botello around. Justin Adamalola is having a great spring. So we're moving him around. It's the multiple front and the fluidness of Coach Freeman's package is really fun to work with and add to. Like, we've added some things to it, and it's been really fun.
All right, we'll go next to Patrick Engel.
Mike, kind of a two-parter here for you. First, a recruiting question. With visits opening up in June from a recruiting coordinator standpoint, how do you kind of see that playing out as far as the pure hecticness of it, given that it hasn't been able to happen for a while? And then you just touched on it, but with Jordan moving around and we kind of see a little bit of that, it seems like, in the video clips, how much of the Viper duties kind of changed from the last 4 years really to what Coach Freeman wants to do with them? Yeah.
So the first part, the June visits, we're obviously very, very excited to get young people on his campus and their parents. Notre Dame is a place that we've always felt, Coach Kelly's always felt, you have to visit to understand. Let's face it, you can go to a lot of campuses in the SEC and you see one, you've seen, quite a few of them. There's carbon copies of each other, but Notre Dame is different. You got to come to our campus, you got to see it. So what we're trying to do, we're encouraging the young players, the underclassmen, to come early in June, just because the weekends will be very, very busy with official visits with our 2022 class. So we're just encouraging, guys that are on official visiting to come during the week and early in June. And then obviously we have camps going on at that time if we're allowed to have camps, which we're hoping we do. So camps during the week and then leaving our weekends available for official visitors. So, and obviously we've been scheduling visits at unofficial and official to make sure that people are buying plane tickets and, reserving times to get up here on this campus. So we're working nonstop at that. And then what was the second part? I'm sorry, you said something about the Viper position.
Yeah, just kind of how it's changed or added duties or tweaked duties from what it was under Clark to what Marcus wants to do with it.
Yeah, it's a little more multiple in coverage. We do a lot with that position now. We didn't do as much, dropping that guy and play. A lot of it was zone or some type of matchup. Now there's a lot of different coverages that we execute with him, which is cool, but it's a lot of work and they're excited about it. It's a challenge for them. And so I would say it's just a little bit more multiple in coverage. And obviously it's still a stand-up position like it was a year ago. It's at the line of scrimmage. for the most part. We do back him up some and play at the second level linebacker, which is new. So that would be probably the two nuances, is he's at a different level at times and he drops into coverage.
We will hand it over next to Tyler James.
Hey, Mike, I got a recruiting question as well. What was the inspiration for the Pot of Gold Day for the 2023 class? And what was sort of the reaction you guys got from recruits with that?
Yeah, well, the uniqueness of it, it's a day that we can utilize. It was really, it stemmed from a recruiting meeting that the recruiting office and I had, and we were putting ideas up on the board, who had the best idea, and the idea got put up to do something with St. Patty's Day, to make that a big blowout day. We didn't really quite know what to do with it at that point, and then we realized that let's make a big splash. We had just changed some things within the evaluation piece to make sure that we were going ahead and evaluating, the 2023, 2024 class ahead of time, ahead of when we would normally do it. And we had a lot of information that we were gathering, from transcripts to character. And, we wanted to check a lot of boxes, but we knew by St. Patty's Day, we would have a lot of underclassmen that we wanted to offer. So we just, we threw it together that way and continue to add the ideas of different things that we were going to do, add social media to it. And was a very, very successful day. And it's something we can build on for years to come. I mean, St. Patty's Day is, luck of the Irish and all that stuff. No one else can really utilize that day like we can. So it was almost, it had a feel of a national signing day. And that's what we were going for, to get some good buzz and on the cusp of really just rolling out a new plan for the 2023 class and getting ahead of the curve.
We'll turn it over next to Eric Hansen.
Real quick, Tyler, did I answer all? Did you have two parts, or did you just have one part to the question? Sorry.
You got everything. Thanks, Mike.
Okay. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Mike, I'm tempted to ask you about Brian Kelly doing the June bug dance during that, but I'll keep my question simpler.
Okay.
The first one is, last summer I had asked Brian about, Jordan Botello getting sent home, and he mentioned a little bit about that. I wondered if you could talk about what his maturation process has been like since that point. And then also my second part would be, Will and Devin and Gabriel, what have been your impressions of them so far?
Yeah, I'm sorry, my voice is a little hoarse from coming off the field, so I apologize. But the freshmen have done a really nice job. They're all very aggressive and learn really well. They've integrated very, very well into the defensive line. The guys love them. It's been a really, really seamless transition for those guys. So, I don't know that, we'll have to utilize them in the depth this season. Some are progressing, and we'll see. But right now, everybody's on track, and we're very excited about their progress. The Jordan Botello question, Jordan had a long way to go in maturity and accountability. And the best thing for him was that, he was sent home, and he realized that, we're here about a holistic development. This isn't just about you getting sacks on Saturday, which, he's going to be able to do because he's a very talented player, but not to compromise the rest of our group and Coach Kelly's culture inside the program. So, we sent him home, and it was a reality check, and he came back and, had a few bumps in the road, but, and then he and I had a really good heart to heart, and I shared a story with him, a personal story. And honestly, from that moment forward, Jordan has just turned the corner. I mean, he's not on any list of bad decisions, and, he's taking care of his business off the field in schoolwork, and just, he's not a finished product yet, but he is definitely, just the maturity is showing through, and I'm super proud of him, and I love him for it. And the connection we have, because we've gone through the trials and tribulations together, and more to come. But he is a very special young man, and he's made a lot of growth, and I'm excited for him.
We'll go next to Lou Emoji.
Good afternoon, Mike.
Hi, Lou. Good morning.
Good, thanks. A few years ago, you mentioned that you wanted to really develop a culture of everyone getting into the lineup. You kind of mentioned that 50 snaps a game is kind of the threshold you're looking at. And last year, you had 11 guys with at least 141 snaps. No one averaged more than 50. Is that something that's premeditated or developed when you go into a game? Do you have it formulated as to just how you want to rotate, and is it just a testament to the depth and competition that has developed the last few years?
Yeah, so it's number one, when you think back, when I think back to when I was a player, the thing that agitated me the most was you're lying in bed on Friday night before the game and you don't know what your role is going to be. You don't know whether the coach is going to put you in, a lot of guys do, the starters know, right? But the second teamers and the other guys, the rep guys, they put in the same amount of work during the game week. And so what we do, the culture that we've created and being able to create at the defensive line is this, that if you work hard during the week and you can play winning football, we're going to try to find a way to get you on the field. And so, some guys can't play at the level as the other guys at this point in their career. So, they won't play as much, but I don't want to take a guy off the field and we have a drop off. But if we can do it, if we can give Kurt Heinisch or Myron Tagovailoa or Jason Adamalola, or somebody, if we can give them a rest and put a guy in that can go in and play the same level of winning football, then we're going to do it, because if they've worked hard during the week. So on every meeting on Friday, we go through the depth chart. We don't go through the depth chart. We go through series one of the game. Here's who's going to run out there for series one. Here are the 4 guys that if it goes over 4 plays are going to rally in. We call it our rally group. And when you see the guys run in, they spin their hands, rally, rally, rally. All 4 guys in, those 4 guys that were out there out. And then so we go through, hey, here's the second series. Who's going to start the second series? Who's going to be the rally group? Sometimes Kurt Heinisch, who's a starter, is in the rally group. And Howard Cross would run out and start the drive. So I tried to script it where the starters are going to get more reps. But if we're even at a position like we've been at defensive tackle, like Myron and Jason, if we finished the game and one guy had 49 reps and the other guy had 48 reps or 50 reps, that's a win. That's good, and there's been some positions where we've played 3 guys. So, and then you add in our sub packages like nickel and dime and penny and different things, that we're going to play hopefully 10, 11, 12 guys. And what that does is the culture that you create, the buy-in during the week, the effort and energy they put into the practices and the meetings, everybody's bought in because they know that they have a chance to play. Now, if we come to Friday and you haven't put in that work, then you're not going to play. So you're not going to have that role that we talk about. So it's an accountability piece that's great, but it's also a reward that, hey, if I work hard and I can play winning football, coach is going to try and find a way to play me. Good.
We'll go next to Tim O'Malley.
Coach, specifically on Howard Cross, what allows him as a relatively undersized player to succeed at the nose and I guess force you to move him to the nose? And on a related note, when do you expect to have Lacey back and working for you?
Yeah, I don't expect to get Lacey back this spring. Hopefully we can get him involved in some footwork, drill work. He's working hard in what we call our pit, staying in shape. He's leaning out his body. He's focused to, he's got to make some progress this offseason with strength and not just even before the shoulder injury, so he's got a checklist of things that he's grinding through and he's very focused on it. So we're still getting a lot of work done with him, even though he's not on the field. But Howard Cross is just a dynamic, like accelerator, just speed off the ball, glow pad level. He finds ways into creases and gaps, and he's always in the backfield and he's quick with his hands and he's got good speed and he's got really good agility. He's been a load to block. I mean, he's going to have a breakout season. I'm excited for him. And it's been a really fun nose guard position this spring with Kurt, Howard, and Aiden.
We'll go next to Pete Sampson.
Mike, you've done the recruiting coordinator role before, but I was interested in sort of how you feel like you want to tweak it or push it forward, and maybe some of the things you picked up over the last few years, and then also the follow-up, Chad Bowden and whoever you guys bring aboard on the offensive side of the ball. What do you really want out of that role, and how do you think that can sort of help the overall operation?
Yeah, great. So, yeah, no, I'm excited to move back to recruiting coordinator. It was fun to watch Brian Polian. When he took over for when I left last time and went to the associate head coach and he became the recruiting coordinator. It was really fun to watch the personnel side of it, like his strength come out with evaluation and really, getting the roster right with positions and being very integral in that part. Those aren't necessarily my focus right now, because that's been done really well over the last 4 years. And my strengths are, the creative part to me, the how we get them to say yes part. And so I'm more on we have two parts of the recruiting office. We have our evaluation piece, and then we have our creativity, get them to say yes piece, the acquisition of the talent phase. So, Brian was really good at the evaluation part, and so I learned a lot from that, and it's been really fun. And now to then come back and help implement a little bit more of the creative side and lean on the things that Brian put in place in evaluation. And then for me to work with the recruiting office to just like the Pot of Gold Day and different things that we have planned for coming up, even today with some things that'll be pushed out and some presentations that we're doing with recruits and their families. I was excited to get back into it and build on what Brian had done with evaluation and even a lot of the presentations that he had done. So the Chad Bowden position, which we're calling our offensive and our defensive recruiting directors, they are integral in what we're doing. They sit in on all the defensive and offensive staff meetings, and they know all the personnel. They're helping organize lists and evaluations. And it allows us as coaches to be, better on the phone. It allows us to be better involved with the process of getting the kids, educating the players rather than, all the odds and ends of, making sure the phone numbers are correct for the high school coaches, making sure the email addresses are correct. There's just an organizational piece that Chad has just been awesome with. And on the offensive side of the ball, we've had Aaron Carney doing it for the offense, and he's been great. So you've seen us really move the needle with a lot of guys in this 2022-2023 cycle, because the workforce has been, lifted. We've just had more people involved, and we're utilizing as many people in the building as we can. So, once we hire another position if we can hire another position for the opposite of Chad on offense, we're going to be even stronger. So it's a very good position to have to just help facilitate everything that we're doing, both on offense and defense, and keep the boards accurate and moving the needle on every player that we're recruiting.
We'll go next to Omar Urena.
Hi, Mike. Could you describe how has been the process for Gabe Rubio this spring? And my second question would be, what do you think is his main strength, and what are the aspects he needs to work on?
So Gabe is currently running with, the second and the third group. We're getting him a bunch of reps, which is great. And he's learning a tremendous amount of football. He's technically, he's with his dad as his coach in high school, his dad being an ex-NFL player and trained, he comes in with a lot of technique, but our techniques are a little bit different. So he's learning that. His footwork, he's got to work on, but he's very aggressive and he learns really well. Smart kid. His transition's been really good. Notre Dame transition is not just football, it's academics. And so there's a lot there with that piece, and he's handled that very well. There's been a few bumps in the road for him in the academic part of it, which he's worked through and grinded through, and very proud of him for that. But I would say strength is the number one thing that he's got to get better at, and pad level. He doesn't win as many as he's going to in the future when he gets stronger, and he plays as his legs and lower body gets stronger. He's going to play lower and play with more power and dominate at the line of scrimmage. Right now, he's executing good and not necessarily able to finish the type of, the rep the way you want him to finish based on lack of strength at this point. But he's possessed, man. He wants to be good, which I love. And that's 90% of it. If you want to be great, you're going to be great if you work at it. And he wants to be great, and he works his tail off, and he's made a lot of progress this spring.
All right. And that is all the time we have today. Thank you very much, Coach.
Thank you, guys. Have a great day.